Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Lynn with Little Learner Printables, and today I'm going to start a 4-part presentation on a very serious topic, bullying. Today's presentation topics will include the introduction, children who bully, what they often struggle with, questions about the behavior itself, questions about emotional development, questions about social skills, questions about the home environment, questions about self-esteem and internal feelings, questions about school or childcare environment, questions to ask the child directly. Bullying behavior should never be ignored and should always be addressed firmly and consistently. 10 common risk factors for bullying behavior. Bullying behaviors that may appear across different environments, protective factors that reduce bullying risk, and lastly, important early childhood reminder. So let's get started. Recently, I came across a heartbreaking story about a 10-year-old child who took their own life as a result of being bullied. Like so many others, I was deeply saddened by this tragedy. Over the past decade, I have witnessed firsthand a significant increase in bullying behaviors among young children, whether directed toward peers or even adults. We have also all seen the growing number of news stories involving violence in schools, homes, and communities involving both young adults and young children. These situations are so tragic, and many of them are preventable. Increasingly, children are being terminated from childcare and or suspended from schools due to negative behavior, and this needs to be seriously addressed. My hope is that by sharing this meaningful information and practical strategies on this serious subject, we as a community of parents, teachers, and caregivers can work together to better understand and support children who are struggling, whether they are experiencing bullying or engaging in bullying behaviors themselves. This is one of the main reasons I created this channel. I have always believed that learning begins at birth and starts at home. When planning the content for this channel, I intentionally chose to begin with the first of 2 important developmental areas, social and emotional development, that I believe are absolutely essential for young children, especially ages 3 to 5, to learn first, though these skills do begin developing much earlier. These foundation skills not only prepare children for kindergarten readiness, but also for life. I will address the second, self-regulation, soon. While academic developments are equally important, I will continue covering these topics in future presentations, but true learning begins here. Without strong social, emotional, and self-regulation skills, children are far more likely to struggle in relationships, behavior, communication, and learning environments. These skills are also directly connected to the issue of bullying and how children respond to conflict, emotions, and social situations. But together we can help create safer, healthier, and more supportive environments for children. Please know that some parts of this presentation may be difficult to hear, especially for parents whose child may be engaging in bullying behaviors. My purpose is not to judge or condemn anyone, but to provide guidance, support, and understanding so that together we can help children learn healthier and more respectful ways to interact with others. As I have shared many times, learning begins at home. Parents and caregivers play a vital role in teaching, modeling, and reinforcing appropriate behavior. It is important that warning signs and concerning behaviors are not ignored, but instead addressed with honesty, consistency, and support. There are times when parents may feel uncomfortable discussing challenges their child is experiencing at home. However, open communication between families and educators is essential in supporting a child's emotional, social, and behavioral development. Without this partnership, misunderstandings can occur, and at times teachers or caregivers may be unfairly blamed for behaviors that stem from issues outside the classroom environment. Working together with transparency, accountability, and mutual respect gives children the best opportunity to succeed both socially and emotionally. There are many instances in which children display social emotional challenges or signs of bullying behavior prior to entering a child care program or a school setting. For this reason, it is important for parents to communicate any significant behavioral, emotional, or social concerns during the enrollment process. Open and honest communication helps teachers and child care providers better support the child's development and create a positive learning environment for all children. It is equally important for parents to take seriously any concerns brought forward by a teacher or provider. These concerns should not be avoided or dismissed, particularly when behaviors are causing ongoing daily disruptions within the classroom or learning environment. Early collaboration between parents and educators is essential in helping children develop healthier social emotional skills and more appropriate ways of interacting with others. Negative behaviors within the classroom environment can significantly impact the group as a whole. When disruptive behaviors occur frequently, they may affect other children in several ways, including children become distracted during teacher-led learning activities, children losing interest in or disengaging from the activity altogether, the teacher needing to pause or stop instruction in order to address the disruptive behavior, which can interrupt or prematurely end the learning experience for the group, creating feelings of fear, discomfort, or anxiety in other children, and increasing the likelihood that other children may imitate or repeat the negative behavior. For these reasons, it is important to address concerning behaviors early and consistently in order to maintain a safe, supportive, and productive learning environment for all children. For parents of children who are being bullied, this information is also meant to support and empower you as you advocate for and protect your child's emotional and physical well-being. All children deserve the opportunity to grow, learn, and live a happy and healthy life in environments where they feel supported and cared for. When trying to understand why a child is bullying other children or adults, the goal is not just to stop the behavior, but it is to understand the need, emotion, experience, or skill deficit behind the behavior. Children who bully often struggle with emotional regulation, social skills, attention needs, trauma, insecurity, modeling from others, or difficulty understanding empathy and power. This is why it is so important to teach children social, emotional, and self-regulation skills at an early age. Learning begins at birth, and even children under the age of 3 can begin to develop an understanding of right and wrong, although their understanding may still be limited. While certain behaviors are developmentally appropriate, children still need guidance and opportunities to practice and consistent support to learn and master socially and emotionally appropriate behaviors. Here are important questions teachers, child care providers, counselors, and parents can ask to better understand the behavior. Let's look at the questions about the behavior itself. Here are some questions to help identify possible reasons, patterns, and triggers. Was the child upset prior to going to school or child care? Was the child tired from lack of sleep prior to going to school or child care? Did the child experience discipline or an argument at home prior to going to school or child care? When does the bullying usually occur? Who is usually involved? Does the behavior happen during specific activities or transitions? Is the child bullying one particular child or many children? Does the child bully adults differently than peers? What happened right before the behavior occurred? What happened immediately after the behavior? Does the child gain attention, power, control, laughter, or peer approval from the behavior? Is the behavior physical, verbal, emotional or social exclusion? How often does it happen? And has the behavior increased recently? Let's look at questions about emotional development. These questions explore emotional understanding and self-regulation. Does the child recognize emotions in themselves and others? Can the child explain how another person might feel? Does the child show empathy after hurting someone? Does the child struggle with anger or frustration? Can the child calm themselves when upset? Does the child react strongly to small disappointments? Does the child seem emotionally overwhelmed easily? Does the child have difficulty expressing feelings with words? And does the child try to hit or harm themselves? Here are questions about social skills. Many children bully because they lack healthy social interaction skills. Does the child know how to ask to join play appropriately? Can the child take turns and share? Does the child understand personal space and boundaries? Does the child have difficulty making or keeping friends? Does the child attempt to control play situations? Does the child misread social cues? Does the child become upset when others disagree with them? Does the child try to dominate peers and or adults? Does the child attempt to hurt another child or adult when they are upset? And does the child attempt to throw or destroy objects when upset? Let's look at questions about the home environment. These questions should be explored carefully, respectfully, and honestly. Has the child witnessed aggressive behavior at home? Is the child exposed to yelling and arguments at home? Is harsh punishment commonly used to include corporal punishment? Are there major stressors occurring at home? Has there been a recent divorce, death, move, or family conflict? Does the child receive enough positive attention? Are there inconsistent rules or expectations at home? Does the child have a regular daily routine at home? Set bedtime, gets up in the morning at the same time, set dinner time, etc. Does the child show defiance or anger easily when asked to do a task? Does the child spend time around violent media, games, or online content? Has the child experienced trauma, neglect, or abuse? How do adults in the home handle conflict? Now let's look at questions about self-esteem and internal feelings. Sometimes bullying comes from insecurity or feeling powerless. Does the child seem insecure or overly defensive? Does the child seek control over others? Does the child feel rejected by peers? Does the child compare themselves negatively to others? Does the child appear anxious or fearful underneath the aggression? Does the child struggle with feeling successful or valued? Okay, next is questions about school or childcare environment. Environments can influence behavior. Does the child feel safe at school? Is the child struggling academically? Does the child receive frequent negative feedback? Are classroom expectations consistent? Does the child care program provide a clean, safe, and well-organized environment for children? Does the program offer a variety of age-appropriate toys, materials, and engaging learning activities to support the child's development both socially and academically? Does the child care program maintain a consistent and structured daily routine that supports learning, stability, and positive behavior? Does the child care program provide children with a scheduled rest or quiet time to support their physical and emotional well-being? Are adults modeling respectful communication? Is the child seeking attention from teachers or peers? Are there enough structured social and emotional supports in place? And lastly, does the child become dysregulated, unable to control themselves during overstimulating times of day? Now let's look at questions to ask the child directly. These should be asked calmly and without shame. What happened? What were you feeling at the moment? What were you hoping would happen? What made you upset? How do you think the other person felt? What could you do differently the next time? Has someone ever treated you that way? Is something bothering you lately? What helps you when you feel angry or frustrated? And what do you need right now? Here's a reminder. Bullying behavior should always be addressed firmly and consistently, but children also need teaching, guidance, emotional coaching, and support, not just discipline. A child who bullies is often communicating, I want control, I feel powerless, I don't know how to connect appropriately, I need attention, I don't know how to manage my emotions, and this behavior is being modeled somewhere. Teaching empathy, emotional regulation, conflict resolution, communication skills, and healthy peer interaction is critical in reducing bullying behaviors in preschool and early childhood settings. For preschool age children especially, but can include older children as well, many behaviors that are labeled as bullying are actually developmental social skills deficits, impulsivity, emotional dysregulation, or learned aggressive responses rather than intentional long-term bullying patterns. What are the risk factors and behaviors to look for in children that would or do lead to bully behavior in schools, communities, and home environments? Number one, bullying behavior usually develops from a combination of emotional, environmental, social developmental, and behavioral risk factors. Number two, no single factor causes bullying, but certain patterns increases the likelihood that a child may use aggression, intimidation, control, and social manipulation toward others. And number three, recognizing early warning signs allows parents, teachers, counselors, and child care providers to intervene before behaviors become deeply established. Let's look at common risk factors. Here are 10 common risk factors for bullying behavior. Number one, poor emotional regulations. Children who struggle to manage strong emotions are at a greater risk for aggressive behavior. Behaviors to look for are frequent anger outbursts, explosive reactions to frustration, difficulty calming down, impulsive behavior, low frustration tolerance, overreacting to small problems, blaming others for mistakes, and difficulty expressing feelings appropriately. Children may use bullying as a way to release anger or gain control. Number two, a lack of empathy. Some children have difficulty understanding or caring about how others feel. Behaviors here to look for are laughing when others are hurt or upset, showing little remorse after hurting someone, enjoying power over others, teasing without recognizing emotional harm, dismissing another child's feelings, refusing to apologize, and intentionally embarrassing peers. Empathy skills must often be directly taught and modeled. Number three, desire for power and control. Bullying often involves gaining status, dominance, or control. Behaviors to look for are bossiness during play, controlling games or activities, demanding peers follow their rules, threatening others, excluding children socially, manipulating friendships, using fear to get their way, becoming angry when not in charge. Number four, exposure to aggression or violence. Children often imitate what they regularly see. Possible environmental risk factors are domestic violence exposure, harsh or aggressive parenting, frequent yelling or intimidation at home, physical punishment, violent media or online content, older siblings modeling aggression, and community violence. Behaviors to look for are threatening language, aggressive play themes, physical intimidation. Children learn relationship patterns from adults around them. Number five, inconsistent discipline or lack of boundaries. Children need predictable structure and consequences. Risk factors would include few household roles, inconsistent consequences, adults giving in to aggressive behavior, lack of supervision, overly permissive parenting, extreme inconsistency between caregivers. The behaviors to look for are ignoring rules, arguing constantly with adults, refusing limitations, acting entitled, and testing boundaries repeatedly. Number 6, social skill deficits. Some children bully because they do not know appropriate ways to interact. The behaviors to look for here are difficulty making friends, interrupting others constantly, poor turn taking skills, misreading social cues, invading personal space, difficulty cooperating, inappropriate attempts to join play, and using aggression to enter peer groups. This is extremely common in preschool and early childhood settings. Number 7, low self-esteem or insecurity. Some children bully to hide feelings of inadequacy. Behaviors to look for are needing constant approval, extreme sensitivity to criticism, becoming defensive easily, putting others down to feel better, seeking attention negatively, jealousy toward peers, and difficulty handling failure. Sometimes aggressive behavior is masked emotional pain. Number 8, peer influence and social reward. Children may bully to gain popularity or peer acceptance. Behaviors to look for here are performing for peer attention, laughing when others bully, joining in group teasing, encouraging exclusion, seeking social dominance, and trying to appear cool through aggression. Peer reinforcement can strengthen bullying behavior quite quickly. Number 9, academic or developmental struggles. Children who feel unsuccessful may seek control elsewhere. Risk factors include learning difficulties, speech language delays, ADHD or impulsivity, executive functioning difficulties, and chronic frustration in school. Behaviors to look for include avoiding academic tasks, acting out during difficult work, disrupting others, aggression after correction, and attention-seeking behaviors. Number 10, trauma, stress, or emotional pain. Children experiencing stress sometimes externalize their distress through aggression. Risk factors include divorce, loss of a loved one, abuse or neglect, housing instability, food insecurity, and family conflict. Behaviors to look for would be hypervigilance, aggression when feeling threatened, difficulty trusting others, sudden behavioral changes, and emotional withdrawal alternating with aggression. Let's look at bullying behaviors that may appear across different environments. At school or childcare, this would include teasing repeatedly, excluding peers, physical aggression, name calling, taking items from others, threatening classmates, manipulating friendships, refusing cooperation, and intimidating younger or quieter children. At home, this would include aggression toward siblings, defiance toward adults, destroying property, controlling family activities, yelling or intimidation, cruelty toward pets, extreme jealousy, and verbal humiliation of family members. In community settings, this would include aggressive behavior at parks or sports, refusing rules during activities, harassing younger children, pushing or hurting another child to get a toy they want, group intimidation, vandalism, risk-taking behaviors, and online bullying or harassment. Protective factors that reduce bullying risk. Children are less likely to engage in bullying behavior when they have warm, responsive caregivers, consistent boundaries, positive adult role models, adult supervision, strong emotional coaching, empathy instruction, healthy friendships, problem-solving skills, opportunities for success, safe environments, and strong school-family communications. Remember, in the preschool and early elementary years, Many aggressive behaviors are developmentally common rather than intentional long-term bullying. However, when these behaviors are not addressed appropriately and consistently, they can or will continue over time and potentially escalate into more harmful actions. There are often early warning signs that a child is struggling with aggressive or bullying behaviors. Unfortunately, in some situations, those warning signs are overlooked, minimized, or ignored, allowing the behavior to intensify. This is why it is critically important for parents, teachers, and caregivers to recognize the warning signs early, closely observe patterns of behavior, and document concerns when they arise. Early intervention and consistent support can make a significant difference in helping a child develop healthier social, emotional, and self regulation skills. Parents should also avoid dismissing or justifying concerning behaviors. One of the biggest mistakes adults make is dismissing harmful behavior as, oh, they're just a kid doing kids' things. Kids being kids, boys will be boys, they'll grow out of it, they're too young for bullying. While some behaviors may be developmentally common, repeated aggressive behaviors still need to be addressed, guided, and corrected appropriately. Children learn acceptable behavior through consistent teaching, modeling, support, and accountability. Ignoring repeated aggressive behavior does not make it go away. Instead, it may place both the child displaying the behavior and the children around them at greater risk for ongoing emotional, social, and behavioral difficulties. Young children still need to learn and be taught empathy, impulse control, social and emotional skills, self regulation skills, conflict resolution, sharing, safe communication, perspective taking, problem solving, and respect for others. Early intervention is extremely important because these skills are highly teachable during early childhood development. While some aggressive behaviors can be developmentally common in young children, repeated physical aggression should never be ignored, excused, or minimized. Warning signs that additional professional support may be needed. Please seek additional evaluation or professional support if the child frequently injures others, shows no remorse or concern, uses severe aggression, threatens others repeatedly, enjoys hurting others, displays aggression across multiple settings, makes excuses for their behavior, cannot calm even with support, shows escalating behaviors over time, is harming animals, and has extreme emotional outbursts regularly. Remember, early intervention is extremely important. In today's presentation, Bullying Part 1, we focused on the child engaging in bullying behaviors. I hope this information has provided you a greater insight into the reasons why some children bully and the challenges and struggles they may be experiencing that require guidance, intervention, and support. At the same time, understanding these underlying factors does not mean that children should not be held accountable for their actions. Accountability is an important part of helping children learn healthier and more respectful behaviors, and I will address this later in this 4-part series. In Bullying Part 2, we will focus on the child who is being bullied, including ways to recognize signs, provide support, and steps you can take to help ensure that every child feels safe, valued, and protected. While this series focuses primarily on preschool, it also applies to early elementary age children, ages 6 to 12. I have spoken with children in this age group who are experiencing bullying, and sadly, some are too afraid to tell anyone. No child should ever feel fearful or alone when facing bullying, and it is important that children know they have a trusted adult who will listen, support, and protect them. So please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this series so that you and others who are concerned about this important issue do not miss these valuable presentations and discussions. As always, thank you so much for your continued dedication to supporting young learners. Happy teaching!